Hey guys, what is going on? It is your friendly neighborhood Zimmerman, and today we're going to be discussing WWE 2K15 Universe Mode. Going to give some concepts that I've been thinking of and some predictions for what the game could have in terms of Universe Mode. So if Universe Mode does return, I don't know if it will return, if it's going to be replaced with GM Mode, but it seems like they've been running the past 4 years with Universe Mode, and it's been pretty good. It has been pretty good. Now, it's been good in the sense that I guess it allows people to be creative, and I like to be creative in these games. And some years they make big differences, like the transition from SmackDown vs. Raw 2011 to WWE 12 was a huge difference, and then ever since then it's been slight adjustments to it. Like WWE 13 had the inclusion of being able to customize shows whatever week you want, like or not whatever week you want. Well, you could add whatever pay-per-view you wanted on any week, or you could have the show on any day of the week. You could add loads of shows and delete shows, and that was good because you could add, you know, SmackDown, Raw, and ECW. So that was great as well. And then WWE 2K14 had the inclusion of the Rivalry Manager, which allowed you to make rivalries up in Universe Mode in hopes that they would feud, and they would feud, but obviously that came with its flaws, and that's what we're going to be discussing in this episode. We're going to be discussing the Rivalry Manager and the changes that could be made for WWE 2K15, hopefully to make Universe Mode better if it does come back. So this is going to be a prediction. First up, we're going to talk about the old one. The old Rivalry Manager was pretty basic. It had tag teams and singles matches that you could add rivalries to. You could have a short rivalry, which was only 4 weeks. You'd have a medium rivalry, which was 8 weeks, and you could have a long one, which was 12 weeks. It was pretty basic stuff. You could have like people compete for titles, or you could have them. It was compete for titles or just compete regularly in just a rivalry. But the storylines for them, they were not in depth at all. They were pretty much, they interfere in a match, or they come out and attack before the match, or they attack after the match, and it was really basic. Or maybe there's a heel turn. It was really basic storylines, so it got dull really quickly, and each week they would face off, coming up maybe once or twice before the pay-per-view, maybe one Raw before the pay-per-view, or one of the Raws before the pay-per-view. They would have, maybe they'd face off against another person on the roster, and then they would interfere, the other person in the rivalry would interfere. So it was really basic. But I guess it's Rivalry Manager 1.0, and then next, if it comes back, it'll be 2.0. Anything else I want to include to that? So they had the really basic events that would happen. The storylines, they were very basic, and yeah, and I guess one of the biggest flaws was that you could only have a 1-on-1 or a 2-on-2. So hopefully, in the new Rivalry Manager, if it is included again, Rivalry Manager 2.0. hopefully we'll see new storylines. Hopefully this year. I'm going to get into a whole different video about the whole branching cutscenes idea, but hopefully they bring back branching cutscenes into the storylines. Or they don't bring back, but they actually implement them, because I remember WWE 13 was supposed to have these branching cutscenes, and no one ever got them. Like, you're supposed to be able to branch out and do different things and different options. They had Paul Heyman involved and everything, and just no, it didn't happen. So I never got one. I played WWE 13 for a long time, and I never got one, and I was so obsessed with Universe Mode. So hopefully they do something with that. But anyway, hopefully these new Rivalry Managers give you the option to include a storyline, like pick out a storyline, choose a storyline, or maybe even just generate a random one, but just make it interesting. I'll get into a whole different video about storylines, but for the Rivalry Manager, just make sure there's new storylines. I don't want the same old crap, but he attacks him before the match and after the match, and then there's a heel turn. Just no, just new storylines, please. Next thing that I wanted to discuss for this new Rivalry Manager will be the time lengths that the rivalry happens. So in the last one, as I said, you could have short, medium, or long. This I want 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, all the way up to maybe 16 weeks or 32 weeks, something crazy. Because, you know, maybe not exactly 32 weeks, but you know, Triple H and Daniel Bryan, they've been going for a while. But I guess you could say the rivalry's kind of broken up and different things like that. But you should be able to have a really long rivalry, and maybe the rivalry be consistent with a couple people just very in-depth stuff that you could do to it to make it last 32 weeks, you know, have like people jumping in and out of the rivalry, but have it a main structured rivalry. You know, let's say Daniel Bryan and Triple H, we could have that for half a year, and then have stuff like, okay, Daniel Bryan will be champion, but he'll face Randy Orton, he'll face Kane, and they can all be included in it as like sub-characters. Make a storyline out of it, basically. Just really interesting stuff that you could do, but you should be able to have the option to have 1 week. A 1 week rivalry, or 2 weeks, maybe not exactly 1 week, because that isn't really much of a rivalry. But you could say like 1 week is in, I don't know, say Cesaro comes in and interferes into someone's match and they leave it at that, he just squashes someone, I don't even know. Just maybe 2 weeks at least, so Cesaro squashes someone and next week they want revenge, but Cesaro squashes them again. By squashed I mean that he like kills them. They won't be competing against him again, they lost and the rivalry ends there. But stuff like that should be that should be allowed to happen. Maybe even to use the story mode editor in this, just some basic stuff, just really basic stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna get into a whole storyline video. I just need to stop like spoiling stuff for those videos. But yeah, and also I think last two things I've talked about for Rivalry Manager what I think should be added would be double title rivalries. So World Heavyweight Championship and the WWE Championship, those champions should be able to rival against each other, and as I said before, maybe have more people included into the whole thing, you know, like as I said with Daniel Bryan and Triple H, you know, like Randy Orton, Kane get involved and things like that, you know. They should be able to do that, but with double titles. So I don't know, we could say we'll take Cesaro, Van Dam, Sheamus and Wade Barrett, we could take them. So Sheamus and Wade Barrett should be able to feud, and Rob Van Dam and Cesaro should be able to get involved in that, and maybe it could lead into it with Cesaro and Sheamus, say Rob Van Dam, say Wade Barrett, and it lead into, we'll say Rob Van Dam and Cesaro will compete. So Rob Van Dam, Wade Barrett, Cesaro, Sheamus will compete. Then something happens in the whole thing, and then it ends up Sheamus versus Wade Barrett for the 2 titles. And then when that happens, there could be like a rivalry between 4 of them. But this is leading into my next thing, which is multiple character rivalries, multiple superstar rivalries, like 3-on-1, for example, like the Wyatt family versus Cena. 3-on-3, since there's only a limit of 2 people, you couldn't have like the Shield versus Evolution. And even go as far as 4 versus 4 or 4 versus 3. There should be like, you should be able to edit the number there. So for example, 3MB with Hornswoggle and Los Matadores with El Torito. So just stuff like that, just concepts that I'm throwing out there for WWE2K15. If you did enjoy the video, please consider leaving a like, and please do give your thoughts in the comments below. I'm willing to take your predictions, maybe include them in a video, talk about some of your guys' predictions. And yeah, anyway, I've been Mr. Zebman. Hopefully you did listen to me ramble this long and enjoyed it. It's like my first commentary back in a while, but anyway, until next time, I've been Mr. Zebman. Peace.